So let's move to this story. Off the back of Team GB's success in Paris, our para-athletes are now looking to do the same next week as the Paralympics get underway. But the training and, critically, the specialist equipment used by so many of our amputee athletes doesn't come cheap, with even beginner-level running prosthetics, for example, starting at around about £3,500. To tell us more about some of those challenges facing disabled athletes, Mark Ormrod, MBE, former Royal Marine and Invictus Game athlete. Afternoon to you, Mark. Good to have you with us, sir.
Thank you for having me, Ian. Appreciate it.
No, nice to have you. Tell us your own circumstances and how your involvement in this began.
So I'm a former Royal Marine. I was injured in Afghanistan, lost both legs and my right arm, and used sport as a mode of recovery and rehabilitation when I was trying to regain my independence. That led on to competing in the Invictus Games in 2017, and then the following year in 2018. So I have lived as an adaptive athlete. I know how much they sacrifice, how hard they work, how committed they are to become full-time athletes. But as you said, it isn't cheap. Yeah. In fact, saying £3,500, that is cheap. The legs
I would imagine.
On now are £80,000.
Well, most athletes, I mean, if you're a runner, you turn up at a track, you know, you want to have the best trainers and, you know, a decent pair of shorts and the right vest. If you're a double amputee, you need a pair of legs to go with that, of course. And that becomes, I would imagine, into the, well, I mean, you tell me, I would imagine this could go into telephone number kind of figures.
So the legs I'm on now, my everyday walking legs, are in the region of £80,000, not including repairs and maintenance. That's just to buy them. The adaptive hand cycle that I have, it was actually funded for me by an organisation called Blesma. That's £10,000 entry level without any specialist equipment to put the athlete on top. So the costs mount continuously. Yeah.
And they don't, you know, there's often, you know, sometimes changing those limbs and those the technology that moves forward, so you can hold on to it and have it for X amount of time, but then there might be a point where either because you are looking for something with, you know, even more capability, or because your own existing limbs require something new, which I understand is also an area that you have to be aware of and concerned about.
Absolutely. You know, these things wear out. They need repairing. Fortunately, there are some very clever people out there that are constantly trying to advance the technology. Yep. So, you know, we want the latest and the greatest stuff that's out there so we can be independent and perform at the highest level. Yeah. But again, it's not cheap.
Tell us a little bit about your awareness of our current Team GB in the Paralympics. I mean, you know, the Olympics a year ago, a week or two ago now, wasn't our best, but it was, you know, pretty impressive. 7th in the table. I know it's not all about the table. The medal toll, depending on which way you want to look at it, was more impressive. Our para athletes are looking to do what on this particular Olympics?
Win it all. No, listen, I've got a lot of friends who are competing, and a lot of friends in the adaptive athlete world. They are incredible men and women. They sacrifice so much, they dedicate so much, they're so committed, and this is the pinnacle of it all for them. You know, for some of them, they're going to come away with the gold. Others, it won't go their way. Yeah. But no matter what happens, they're all going to come out the other side of this stronger as individuals and human beings. Yeah. You know, inspirations to the next generation.
Where do we excel, Mark, in this area?
Sport specific?
Yeah.
I think running. You know, you have people like Richard Whitehead, who's phenomenal at what he does. I've got a friend, Will, who's a table tennis superstar, so I'll be crossing my fingers for him. I think across the board, we're generally pretty decent.
And is it, I mean, the whole area of losing a limb and having to find a replacement, I mean, everybody, if they're brutally honest, has had that conversation in their head, you know, what would, if it happened to me, You know, people even not even trying to be clever. You know, would you rather lose an arm? Would you rather lose a leg? I'm sure you had those conversations like anybody else before that happened to you. You've managed to turn sport into an area that has clearly, you know, reinstilled, you know, a lot of confidence and purpose, I would imagine. But I always look at anybody that... funny enough, I was on a plane the other day coming back from America, and there were 3 people with, I don't even know if the right term is artificial legs. They weren't together, by the way. I don't know what had happened on that particular flight, but I just noticed how well people deal with artificial limbs compared to what was the case, you know, 20 years ago, when it was, you know, really nowhere near where it is now. Regardless of how good that gets, do you still sense the challenges daily, though, Mark? Clearly, you would rather have what happened didn't happen, but you're able to have an incredibly functioning and fulfilling life because of what you do. But that doesn't mean to say it's always easy, right?
Absolutely. And whether I competed in sport or trained at all or not, I still have to live like an athlete, because just to walk around day to day takes me 300 to 500% more energy than it does for an able-bodied person.
Yeah.
My body's taking a bit of a hit because of the prosthetics, so I have to be proactive with my health and wellness, stretching, mobility, weight training, and all those things just to keep healthy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not straight. It's interesting. On it, there's a politician called Craig McKinley. I'm not sure if you're aware of Craig, but he was on with Julia just before the show, and he got sepsis sort of tail end of last year, and lost both arms and both legs in this process. So out of nowhere, this guy, you know, it wasn't the conventional accident. It wasn't at war, etc. You know, woke up and realised, wow, my life is changing for good. And he turned up at Parliament the last session. Big round of applause for everybody, from everybody on all sides of the House. And what blows me away, and I genuinely don't mean this to sound patronising, is how the human condition, whatever's going on inside, but it's extraordinary what happens when tragedy strikes, right? People surmount things in a way that before you didn't think you'd ever be able to. Is that reasonable?
Yeah, I think someone explained it to me once, and they said that trauma is like alcohol, and it amplifies who you are. So if you're a kind of happy-go-lucky person, you take on challenges with a smile on your face. Through trauma like he has, will bring that out of him more.
Yeah.
You know, and you embrace it and enjoy it.
And clearly Team GB are going to be applying all of that. Next week is when this all begins. Is there a country out there that is like the one to watch? I mean, usually, you know, with the Olympics last week, it was China and America. Is it the kind of similar pecking order around the Paralympics?
I think so. I think it is, yeah. China and America are the ones to watch.
Yeah. Well, we'll be watching Team GB, and thank you, Mark, for your time, so I really appreciate it. Thank you, Mark Ormrod, MBE, former Royal Marine and Invictus Game athlete, triple amputee, and he turned it around. And there's no one out there that hasn't had that conversation in their head. You know, what would I do? Would I be able to cope with that if that happened? I did overhear a conversation in a gym. I promise you, I don't just go to places where there are people who are missing limbs. I just happened to be on a plane recently where I clocked that. But in a gym about a year ago, 2 guys talking. One had lost a foot in a motorcycle accident, and the other guy, I can't quite remember, but it was his lower legs below the knee. And one was coping with it and one wasn't. And the one that wasn't had never coped with it. It was 1 foot that he'd lost in this accident. And the other fella was given, it was kind of quite interesting to sort of overhear this kind of pep talk, if you like, of, you know, what you should be doing, what you could be doing. But I know everybody will deal with things in different ways, but I can imagine that it would be very easy to spiral into a quagmire of utter depression when that happens. So you have to look to people like Mark and those that turn it around and are able to function, not just to function, but to excel and do stuff. The fella in the wheelchair said to the other guy, I would not have done half of what I've done in my life had I not lost my legs. And I thought that's kind of interesting, because he probably wishes he hadn't lost his legs, but simultaneously, he kind of turned it around. And you always think, well, there are braver people than me out there. I'm not sure my mental capacity would deal with that, but perhaps people like Mark thought that too. Fair play to those guys. Good luck to Team GB. It starts next week in Paris, of course, the Paralympics.